This is In the Zone with Ian Robb and Dancin Rodda. One's a mental toughness coach who also helps riders with recovery. The other, a horseman with soul, who is also a marriage counselor for the rider and horses. Together, they dive beyond ribbons and rankings to where real riders train, the mind. From elite arenas to quiet barns, this show is about the mental edge, the recovery rhythm, and the heart that keeps you in sync with your horse and yourself. So whether you're tuning in from the tack room or the open road, saddle up. You're in the zone now.
We're back in our cabin again, but this time we're keeping the AC on because
That's right.
It's been a little bit warm. So guys, if you're hearing this noise back there, don't think you're fixing your dial.
We're in the zone. That's the noise of
We're
in the zone.
and we got to do it. But today, Pete, I'm kind of excited because we're going to step in the mind of a man who has lived at the highest level of our sport, an Olympian, a coach and a leader, and a true student of the horse.
But what makes this conversation different is that Luis Lucio doesn't just train movement, he trains connection.
From the Olympic arena to shaping the future of dressage in Spain to blending classical training with natural horsemanship, he spent a lifetime asking one powerful question, Pete.
It is forced to.
Yes, Pete, that's true. How did you know that?
Yeah, it was written right here.
Oh, come on, Pete. Don't tell them that we're reading these things. Luis, so great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
It was actually Linda Pirelli that suggested that you come join us.
Yes.
And then when I was understanding who you were, I was more than delighted to have you on our podcast.
Thank you.
You now raise the level of our podcast. Now Pete's going to have to maybe shower and shave a little bit closer from now on.
Well, we appreciate you coming, Lucio. Can you give us a little of your background so that the listeners that might not know you from Spain can get to know where you came from?
Well, I have been all my life very interested in horses. I was studying in the Barcelona University economics studies because at that time you should study. You couldn't spend your life on horses. But as soon as I finished, I just decided to keep on with horses. I was in the beginning just a hobby rider, and soon I was interested in any disciplines, dressage, jumping. I was doing voltige, the ones who just run on top of the horses. And then little by little, I became more professional, training, riding, competing. I was having the right opportunities to get horses always from owners and sponsors because I couldn't get my own horse. But I was just winning quite nice the Spanish championships. I got in my Spanish team into Olympics in Atlanta and Sydney, and has been a lifetime of training horses, competing in dressage mainly, and having big trouble with them, not in the results, but in the personal relation. Since in 2000, I met partner Linda, and that changed my life because made me understand how horses think, and I become a little more empathy with them. And since then, I spend my time training, riding, and helping the others to do not as many mistakes as I did.
So your first language is not English?
No.
And you're from Spain?
Yes, I am from Spain, yeah.
Yes, sir. So what does in the zone mean to you?
Well, in the zone is a concept that is quite deeply used in sports science when they talk about athletes. It describes a state of mental, physical, and emotional harmony that an athlete need to reach in order to perform at the highest level.
I like that answer.
Absolutely. And, Luis, you said before that you can't train the body until you win the mind.
Exactly.
What does that look like in real life with a high-performance horse?
That's the key, because all my life till the 2000, I was becoming better and better and better to train bodies. But I couldn't even consider that the mind was an obstacle because I was making the horse doing things, using my tools, my strength, my power, my physics, my tools to make horses do things. And of course, I was successful. But since I knew the horse's mind, how they think, and when I begin to understand how to read them, then the results change, and that made me in another level of riding sports. And that's what I try to explain to my students and help them to do better.
So we had this question to Linda Pirelli, and she said you would better answer it. So, do horses feel competition pressure?
Of course, for a horse going to a venue with many people, other horses, uh, new noises, sleeping in a new stable, having probably different habits in life makes them, but they get quite easily used to. Probably young horses you have to the classes of 4, 5, 6 years old, but once they know, they know. What is really hard is for humans. The ones who really change the behavior and the perception of reality are riders.
Are these concepts you even thought about before you met Pat and Linda?
Well, I was not an expert of human behavior and under sport challenges since I was doing some studies of mastery in high performance sports in Spain. But what I learned from Linda and Pat was how horses feel and think and how to act with them in order to create a good partnership that I was absolutely no idea about.
So then, I'm wondering here is that how do you know when a horse is mentally with you versus just being obedient?
That's a great question. I thought that I had the horses with me till 2000. They were very obedient. And many of those who could not get the right treatment, they were performing under the level that they could. But of course, the obedience make horses do a lot of things. But if you want to go to a high level of relation with a horse, if you ask him to do hard things, you need to have a horse who is ready to do it for you and with you. And this is a relationship. You can check it daily in the possibilities that you have to create moments of relaxation in this horse, how much you can build tension. And also you can realize when you look at the signs that the horse shows you, when you come to pick him up in the stable, when you begin your lessons, what happens when you do long reins, if you can stand still, all these little things. And just to give you another fact, on all the journey I have been doing, learning more, studies of high performance and knowing Linda and Pat Palelli, what I learned is that there is a tool that we don't know in the sport of dressage, but is very important in the whole other sports. It's like the heart rate devices. And having a heart rate device with a horse, you can immediately know not the level of fatigue, because they are very strong, especially in dressage, they don't have fatigue, but the level of anxiety. And that would be a good way to know the answer of your questions. If there is high in the heart rate, there is tension.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because that was going to be one of my questions. Is when I first heard of you, I heard that you were doing the heart monitors, and that got me excited because I'm all about, when I'm training a horse, about the relaxation. I give them lots of long breaks for them to understand more. And then when a mutual friend took a lesson from you, Sarah Martin,
Yep.
she came to me and she goes, "Thank goodness I'd gone through your stuff because I would not be able to handle Luis Lucio standing for as long and letting the heart rate come down." So explain why that's important to stop and let that heart come down.
Well, in a basic way, when we just train horses, especially in dressage, our purpose is influence the body posture. And horses are not naturally understanding too much body posture. They can understand speed or directions, but body posture, you have to tell them quite nicely. That creates a kind of difficulty of communication because we use some pressure, repetition, we work in a flat arena, turning around, doing circles. That for a horse is quite strange. And they become tense because of that. And then if you have the bats, that tells you how tense is your horse. You know that tension and learning are not compatible. Then you need to find a way that when you want to tell him something, he's in a state of mind that he can listen. And for sure, it's not the moment when he's very high in the heart rate that you can tell him. Then you begin to use brakes. And then how long do you brake your horse? Till he goes below 80 beats per minute, for example. Because that means I am ready for you to tell me something. But if you have whatever you're trying to teach your horse, and after some minutes you have a break, and the horse doesn't go below 80 soon, you have a problem. You have been trying too much, It's difficult for the horse, or he hates you, or he cannot understand, or
I'm enjoying this because now we're learning how the horse isn't in the zone. He's out of the zone when his heart rate's up.
exactly. That's a tool. It's not an opinion, it's a tool.
So how do you calm the horse down?
Stand still, long reins, stop asking, let him do something that he likes, like stopping looking around.
So do you
Do a break.
have a heart monitor on the student?
We have already done a lot of that. we have done for 12 years some a talents program in Spain, and we were using a very advanced equipment that is used in football, in soccer, that they can put the devices in 12, 15, 20 players, and the trainer knows everything. Then we were using these tools, and we were putting 2, 3, or 4, or 5 riders at the same time. You have 8 devices, and you could see, yeah, very interesting. And very fantastic thing that when you get the graphic of both, who you guess is always the higher?
The human.
Yeah. In competitions, that's coming back to your questions.
Well, and I've always wanted to put a heart monitor on the trainer. So you're giving the lesson.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a correlation on that, because I've seen trainers that their heart rate's up, they're yelling and screaming, and it didn't help the rider or the horse. Yeah. So I've always asked you, why don't you put one on the trainer? Because if your heart rate stays down, I bet you have an influence on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You take out your student of zone, then no way to learn.
So what separates a technically good rider from a truly great horseman, in your opinion?
Can you say that again? Sorry.
Yeah. What separates a technically good rider from a truly great horseman?
Yeah. There is a word that we don't use also too much in our sport, is the tactical. That means a good technical rider knows how to perform an exercise, which is the body position, the aids, the dynamics, the balance, the bending, the tempo, whatever. And a good horseman understand how to deal with the pressure, how long, which kind of pressure, when have a break, which is the relationship, and which decisions to take. I think the tactical approach in training is what makes a good technical rider a very good horseman.
I'm going to write this down. I'm going to listen to this when we publish it. I'm going to write all that down, because to me, that's being in the zone.
Yeah.
All those things are very important.
And that's true, because a lot of the people that go from just being a great elite rider, but take it to a whole new level, is that relationship that they have with that horse.
Absolutely.
But with dressage, tell me how that works with dressage, though. Tell me, because that's such a unique sport in that sense.
Well, I am from the dressage world. I am a passionate. This is my life, and I love it. Of course, our sport, I already told you, is the more, let's say, unnatural in the horse industry, because horses are coping with cattle, are jumping, are running, but playing different positions is a little more far from the nature. Then we need to be better horsemen, to tell a horse, listen, come to this flat arena. We're not going too far. We're turning here for 1 hour, and we will tell you where to put the neck, where to put the hind legs. And horses are saying, what do you mean? Why I have to be there? What's, as Pat said me one day, what's the need for me? What I get at? Then having the talent and the knowledge to make a horse happy, or understanding, or collaborating with you in this job, is quite a big job for our world of dressage.
And in collection, you're taking their eyesight away. Yeah. Where in jumping, you're letting them see the jump.
Exactly.
In dressage, I always tell people, you're running with binoculars pointed to the ground.
Exactly.
So when something jumps to the side of you, that's why they jump, when they see things.
Exactly. The other day we were doing a clinic with a specific subject of Piaf. You know what Piaf is, like moving on the spot. And then I was telling, when you imagine a horse who is normally feeling about fly away, rhythm with someone, something in the mouth, and has to move on the spot, this is trouble for sure. Then you have to really have the right tactical approach to teach horses to do that in a nice way. That's why we have so many problems with these collecting exercises.
So in dressage, and this is what I've said many times, I want to get your perspective. We reward people for not being horsemen. So they go to a dressage show, they have this beautiful, what we would think isn't great, but they get a high score for a piaffe or passage or a movement that's forced, but they still get that score. What is your feeling about that?
Well,
how do we get the sport to praise the people for?
The sport itself has a high level of welfare in the purpose of everyone. Riders try to do their best, judges want to do their best, the FEI try to do their best. Another question is what happens in specific cases with some horses or riders. I think everybody tries to do the best, but it's true that sometimes we can see pictures that we don't like, and that's why we need to use our information and our knowledge to help this world to be better. Then I wouldn't be against the dressage wall, but I would be for make them do it better. And I have to say that everybody is more concerned about that 20 years ago. Now, the happy horse concept already was integrated in the FEI, and everybody talks about the welfare. You see, there are devices, there are treatments, there are philosophy. Everybody is looking about the happy horse and
He's trying to say Beamer without putting Beamer in.
But this is the moment that we live in the sport. But of course, we need to change things in the daily.
And this is just me going to ask questions because I always love to have somebody of your talent and knowledge. What about the feet movers, the big feet moving that they're not really using their back and they're getting high scores?
Yeah, this is one of the enemies that we have, these big movements, and it comes from also from the market of the young horses in the sales. And we want to have these horses moving, and it influenced the whole sport people to trying to get it, and we cannot pretend that everybody has the ethics in front of the results. And then sometimes it's true that the same market is forcing people to bring these horses with exuberant movement in front of you, and then the owners want to buy, and that's an enemy. But I have to say that in the high level of competitions, the judges are very good. And I have seen in the last years how the World Championships of young horses, who is one of the more important signs or where the dressage FEI goes in young horses, is changing a lot to the harmony. Tension is not anymore getting marks, and judges, they want harmony, they want easy to go in horses, and now riders and trainers, they know, even breeders. And I think probably slower than some of us will think, but the sport of the horse is changing in dressage also to a better place.
We have to let them
find
it themselves and help them.
So why do you think dressage riders have historically resisted horsemanship concepts?
Mississippi horse missing sport concept or
historically resisted.
Resisting.
Well, in the culture of dressage in Europe, we have tradition of doing things. We have heritage, the heritage of old schools of military cavalry. And then these are protocols who were a little more rigid, more use the horse for something, and probably here I can see in US you have more the tradition of the horsemanship. The horse is used for some work in the cattle, and there is more in the society as a integrated in your daily, and then you were more having better relation that the sport, and probably that's why in the dressage you can find not as much people interested on that, or you don't hear that too much. But that's the reason that we are here, and we need to give them a chance and show them that can be different.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges, is that the history of how things were done and their tradition of how to do things. And people fall in that rope right there, that system that they think. And that so much so, they can't even think outside the box.
Exactly.
There's a box?
There should not be a box, but they can't think about how can I actually make this better. How can I actually
Yeah.
improve what I'm doing out here? Because this is how they've been
So in the
classically
spot
trained.
for you, Lewis, what would be one thing you'd like to see better in your sport? If you
Well,
could change one thing.
one of the more powerful tools we have in the sport is the judges. I would really like, I know many of them, mostly of them, and I admire them. The top ones, the five stars, are top them. And they have a chance. Because at the end, we as a riders, as a trainers, we want to get marks. Then if you go to the show and they are really strong in the tension that they see or the neck position or in the way of riding, or even I was suggesting in one time put a tactical mark in the test, how people have the relation with the horse in the test or how they manage the pressure, that would change a lot. Then I think I would like that the judges are more supported and they are braver. And sometimes FEI on all these government bodies, they have so much influence for so many countries and opinions and stakeholders, the riders, the trainers, the judges, the organizers, that it's difficult to take decisions. And perhaps we need to let these body governments have more power and be more strict in what we would like to see.
So, what did the Olympics teach you about pressure, Luis, that no training ever could?
You mean pressure about us as a riders,
Yes.
or pressure about the horses?
I'm probably as a rider.
Yes. In my personal journey, I was quite tense. I was really having, even though it was quite successful, I needed help. And then I went to a sports psychologist and I learned good strategies to control the anxiety, visualize the test, and get good
In the
tools.
zone.
Get in the zone. And that helped me a lot in the success. And what I have realized after so many years, not only competing myself, also teaching, training, and coping up my as a rider, as a trainer, and also as a coach, as a chef de equipe. I was here in Tryon or in Rio with my teams, with our Spanish teams, is that the biggest limiting factor of performance is the anxiety of the riders, the tension. And then we need to put to the riders kind of list of tools that they can learn how to manage the tension and to learn how to be in zone. Because normally there is the techniques are too much. We think they are so important, but at the end, it's more important how the riders think, how they manage the tension of the competition, how to be in zone. Absolutely, that's the hardest part.
What do you think Pirelli unlocked for you in dressage?
Oh, it changed my life, absolutely.
But
I was the hardest, stronger, no empathy rider you can imagine. With
so
horses.
empathy.
I was very hard. And they were telling me how to read horses, how to think about them. And I was from devil to an angel. And then I became some years that I was allowing the horses to do wherever because I wanted to experiment till I found this harmony in between.
So you had to find the art.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yes.
that's the hard
The
part
empathy,
to teach
the
people
empathy, the empathy.
is the empathy. It's actually something I just changed in my program. I added to was empathy, but it's also the art. I always tell my students, one day you're going to experiment, and that's what I want you to do. To figure out the next part. So that's great.
I got a big influence in Pirelli program in 2000 when I began. But in the last years that I got again in contact with Linda, what impressed me about the horse, how to talk horse program that she has developed is how she can be synthesize all that, preparing for riders to ride better, to understand how horses think, how to take decisions, how who help them to be partners. And this is very exciting for me that people can get where can find a place that they can get the information to understand what happens and do it better.
So for us, for athletes, it's getting, as Pete keeps on saying, like today in the zone, but it's the flow. It's the flow state. You got to be in the flow state. You got to be calm, relaxed, and taking that curtain away.
Absolutely.
And just learning, okay, because you sound like you're very technical and you were put a lot of pressure on yourself. Now you can actually just breathe, relax, and just feel it.
Mhm.
Is that what it is for you?
Exactly.
And how do
This-
you train that with somebody? How do you teach that right now for
well,
yourself?
you need to know which are the areas that you need to improve.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be well with your physique. You have to sleep well. You have to have a nice hydration. You cannot eat the wrong thing in the wrong moment. You have to have the right self-confidence and motivation. And you need to know the test and know your horse, understand the behavior, make a good plan of that day, visualize yourself, planify the expectations of the results in a nice way. There is many areas that you need a trainer to help you as a rider. And sometimes the technical trainers, the question trainers, we don't know enough. And then we need to get support of other colleagues in sports psychology, for example, for sure.
No, I love this because that's right up my alley, what you're talking about there, and just learning, okay, because when I was an athlete, I could use my body to play football better or basketball, not tennis. Tennis, I would just put the pressure on myself and I get tighter and tighter. How could I lose to someone half my size? But what you're now talking about is how to relate to that horse and having them both flow at the same time, especially with a unique sport like dressage.
Absolutely. For example, one thing that we in dressage world, a basic thing, we don't do riders is stretch. And we all riders have had problems, terrible problems with doctors because we work a lot with the legs. And then we all have had a lesion that didn't allow us to ride for days, weeks, or months. And we know what does it mean? Money, success, war, pain. Then stretching before riding should be a easy thing, easy protocol of 5 minutes, 6 minutes that give you fit for all your life. And like that, we have so many topics that we follow because we're told that we need to keep the contact. We're told that the horse has to be with big impulsion, the forward, and all that are things that they are big enemies that if they are a little misunderstood can bring us to the wrong place.
Well, and I even, for myself, teaching lessons. So I'm not as athletic as I used to be because I sit a lot or I stand a lot and don't do a lot because I'm teaching somebody else. So how do you deal with that? Because I know you ride and sit, but you do a lot of clinics where you sit.
Yeah, when now the more I ride every day at home, but in clinics I ride the less and less. First, because the dynamics of the clinics changes a lot if you begin to ride the horses, and second, because of that. But in the years and even now, when I need to ride, everything stops for 10 minutes and I stretch because I have already done several times the mistake of riding directly, and these months of recovery. The doctors are don't forget.
How do you help a rider recover after a bad test or a mistake?
This is a very important lesson because we need to know that the results they don't depend exactly about us. It's a question of getting better, not what to achieve. And the more important for me is understand what happens and why. And many times it's too late to fix it because the rider was there with wrong expectations. Probably having the right expectations, the where you are, what would you like to achieve, can clarify the frustration of what you get. And sometimes you do your best, but the horse is not there, or you have a mistake, and the others are better, and then you need to cope with the results and be more in our own journey, be better than we were 1 month ago.
I love the expectations because that's what I see a lot of my students. They think, well, it should only take 2 weeks and I should be doing this
Yeah.
upper level thing. And that just was spot on for me for that we put too much expectations on the horse and ourselves.
And this is something that we have to say as trainers, we are a big part of the mistake because we try to motivate our customers to get a better horse, to get more results, or to give more lessons. You're doing great. And sometimes in an involuntary way, we are creating some expectations that they are not true. And then the reality is quite tough when it tells you where you are. Huh?
No, absolutely. I love this one. Thank you. Louis, what's the difference between training for mastery versus training for medals?
I think it's the principles, the principles. Because sometimes in a certain moment, if I will find a lack of harmony with my horse, I wouldn't go on. and sometimes the results in the competitions wake up our dark side, and we want to make it, and you use the horse as a tool. Then this is it's a fight that you need to be you need to have as a competitor. In my previous years, my dark side was also winning, but since years I am winning in the nice side, and then I am really enjoying the partnership. We don't go farther than the horse can.
Wow.
Have you ever told a rider that maybe this is not the horse for you?
Yes, very often.
Have you ever told the horse that this rider is not for them?
Yes, and I tell them I'm gonna help you to cope with it. Be patient. We will do our best. That's my job very often.
So you've coached teams at the highest level.
Yes.
What makes a rider coachable?
Well, the concept of being humble. Many times, the riders with experience or in the teams, and they are focused with results, money, fame, sponsorship, new horses, and this is like willing that don't let them be open to do different. No? And they know they can do it. And remember that in the competition surrounding, athletes cannot think well. They are too much in the anxiety. And one of the biggest difficulties with the anxiety happens is that you cannot perceive the reality and take decisions well. Huh?
You know, it's so true though, because there's a lot of great athletes and they're not humble. Okay, they're just not. Their egos are way up here and they think that they know everything. But your concept of where you were before as a rider, what was called the dark side, how you would train, and now you open up almost like an Obi-Wan Kenobi from Star Wars, and you're wanting to enlighten them with a little bit different thought process. Then maybe they might be more open because you also have the experience, the credentials behind you.
Yeah.
But now you're taking it a step further. So that's really impressive.
Yeah.
Well, I'm impressed that you will say that you've been on the dark side.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of
was
people
good.
that won't, I'll tell people, they'll criticize somebody and I'm like, yeah, I've been there.
I
I
was-
unfortunately, but I overcame it. Sometimes you have to go through some bad times to figure out it's probably not the best way to do it.
And I tell you, it helped me a lot because I understand why the riders are doing that, what they are doing, and what is going to happen. And I can tell them before it happens because I was quite good on it. And I think it's a good experience. Okay, if I would choose, I wouldn't do it because it take me out thousands of hours of sleep because I couldn't sleep the nights. But it's a good help for me to understand where people is and where they move them. And I think it's a strong tool to help them.
So, Luis, as a coach, what's the hardest truth you ever had to tell a rider?
Oh, the hardest tool you have to tell them.
Is there a story that comes to mind right now?
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. If you have been always telling the truth, that means that he's there with the good expectations. I will say we need to keep trying. That's a hard thing. Another question is when the reality has been a fake on the way, that the expectations were wrong, or the horse is not ready, or the rider is not as expert as he thinks. And sometimes you find this situation in the sport and you say, you have to do better. You have to improve. You are not dealing that well.
So at this moment, I'd like to ask this particular question about Linda Pirelli. She said that you coached her a little bit in dressage. Is that correct?
Yes, I am very honored to do it. Yes.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about her as a student.
She is the best student you can find.
I hope she's listening to this right now.
Yeah, she is the best student you can find because, a student is not to perform there, is not to show you up, it's just to listen, to integrate information and to try. And I have to tell you, I was and I am a very good student also. If you coach me in something, I will follow and follow and follow because that's the job of a student. Follow and try. Then you can decide if you are not having the right feeling or the result or the philosophy. But the student mode is try and follow the teacher. And Linda is an amazing student. First, because he has the role of student better than anyone. And second, that is the one who understands more horse behavior. And she can do the right thing judging situations that we are not even realizing that they are happening.
So, as her coach in dressage, what has Linda taught you, being a student, to the teacher? What has she taught you?
Well, he told me everything. He was not telling me how bad I was. He was accepting me very well, making me feel happy, and little by little telling you what we say bombs. But he does it in a very smooth way because he wants to help you to go through that. Because if you will tell me the first day everything he thought about me, we will be not here probably. But he was allowing me to go on and little by little helping me to understand horse behavior. And still now, of course, I ask her every day things about horse behavior.
And that, to me, being somebody of your caliber to still be a student is huge, because there's everybody always goes, "Oh, you're an expert." And it's like, no, I'm a beginner.
Absolutely.
I know how much there is to still learn. You guys think I'm at the top of the mountain. Well, I'm looking at twice the size mountain that you think you're going to climb.
Already today we were preparing our activity in the horseman symposium, and I am going to show one of the horses. It's a young horse. I will do a little round walk and I will ride. And we were filming it, and I was asking her, what do you think I should present the horse with this length of reins, and this is the right tempo? Should I go a little more forward? And she can read and say anything. This is so expert.
So, Luis, what do great riders do between the rides that average riders won't or don't?
What the top riders do that the others don't. I think top riders, they take care about all the details. They are really taking care about the horse in the stable, eating, drinking, traveling, warming up, talk, shoeing, veterinarian, strategies on the competitions, training. That good riders, they take care about everything. I think that
I have a saying when you said that. I have a saying that when you think there's no training going on is the most important training that's going on.
yeah.
So the people that lead their horse from point A to point B that think, oh, I don't have to worry about what's going on. And I go, well, your ride's going to be a little different tomorrow because you let him run ahead of you and you didn't do anything about it. So I love that statement.
So, when you watch a rider, Luis, how do you know that they're truly in the zone when you watch them ride?
Well, probably checking their decisions. Normally, when I do my clinics, the first thing I do when a rider comes and a no rider, I have never seen the horse or rider, then I let them tell me what is the horse coming, what's the experience between both of them. And then when I get it from them, I say, okay, then you ride your way for 10 minutes. I don't tell you anything. Then I watch. Then I see which is the relation between both of them. How is the model, what we call technical model, the postural approach, and which are the decisions that they make. And a rider who is in zone, he takes the right decisions. We all can have a horse who is not ready for something or he's having a hard time, but the right decision for that horse could be give more time, have a break, repeat, do it slower, or whatever. And the decisions make the clear picture of if you are in zone or not.
Have you ever experienced the closest thing to perfect ride?
Well, riders, we try to get closer, but the feeling of flow and harmony, yes, is something that we have had, and you try to refeel again and again. But that's what attracts you in riding. Of course, I have been closer for many times, and I hope and likely I will be closer again. I have to tell you, I am the more and more in this flow in my last part of life that in the beginning. In the beginning, I got results, I got money, I got prizes, but I was not feeling good. And now I am feeling better.
So, in your training, how can you train? Can someone be trained to be in the zone, or does it just happen naturally?
No, you have to be. Okay, there are people who has a talent for be relaxed, for example, but then they are unorganized, they are not methodic. Huh? And there are others that they are very well organized, very methodic, but they are too tense. Then I think anyone, whatever is the cartoon of the profile, needs help. I don't think any, probably there will be some, but any of the top sports in any sport, they are there without help. The more and more the sport force us to be good in so many areas that you cannot be by yourself.
So, we've had people on our podcast before. Some would actually say that they would sing, between jumps or between competition.
Yeah.
Some would actually just use a word like breathe, for example,
Yeah.
to help get them in the zone or
Yeah.
focus, or certain rituals that they might do prior before
Yes.
they get on there.
Yeah.
Do you know how to relate those things to the different riders? Because everyone's different. So you got to kind of pull from different backgrounds and experiences to help that rider to perform.
Yeah. You need to know your student, the rider, and try to give him the best that you can. And some of them, they need more confidence. Some others, they need more room. Don't give him too much information. Prepare all the tasks before. I am a big fan of the preparation, the details, what we call competition plan. It's like a list of tasks that the athlete should do the day of the competition, that begins when you wake up, you have a shower, you have a breakfast, you take your car till I finish the test or I bring the horse. And then having everything in mind, written with time, with all the tasks you need to perform, is like filling a film that you have already seen. And that helps a lot with the tension and anxiety and makes insecure riders more confident, tense riders more relaxed, and the ones who are not good organized to don't forget something.
So do you ever listen to music?
Yes.
So
I personally use a lot the music to control my emotions. The fact when I ride and train, I sing.
okay, so what songs?
Oh, I like music. I like Michael Jackson. I am a fan of Michael Jackson.
Yes. I love it. So if a horse could talk, what would he say most riders get wrong?
As he said, it's better they don't speak. Yeah, because we don't take care. We take care about the food and but we don't understand too many about what they feel. Probably they will say you need to follow the horse talk curriculum to understand how we feel horses. We don't understand too much horses. We don't know.
They're saying that we don't speak very good
Yeah.
Spanish.
We don't exactly. We don't talk in a nice way their language.
I always say to my students, I can speak Spanish. Grando burrito. I didn't tell you I could speak it well. I didn't speak it well, and that's how we are doing with horses.
And because we have been learned to ride them, to use them, to compete them, to do the stuff or whatever, but to understand them, to talk their language, we are very bad. That's why I began to learn that 2000.
Luis, is modern dressage drifting too far from the horse's natural behavior?
Well, dressage is developing the natural abilities of the horse in harmony with the rider to perform in a high level of exercises. And the tendency goes better and better because the horses are better. We have more knowledge about how to train them. Everything is better now. And I don't think we are far from the real roads. It depends of every one of us. And this our job as a professional in different areas to help the dressage family to keep on enjoying the better things that we do, and don't forget the horse talk, the horse psychology. That is, I think, the missing part of our area.
What's something in dressage today that worries you about the future?
The public opinion. I am really concerned about that. And already I was for 6 years in the FEI Dressage Committee as a trainer's representative. And already when I came in 2012, my first question in the first committee say, are you aware about how difficult is the public opinion about our dressage? I say, no, don't worry, it's getting, but you see the more and more in the world of dressage, we have these horrible pictures or films or stories that make the public opinion going against us. And public opinion is very powerful because it depends of the brands, the enterprises who put money and the sponsors. And one of the biggest risks is that if the sport doesn't look nice, it's going to be out of the Olympic movement. Not only because the sport doesn't have many followers, because it will have no money, and there are many sports that they are cheaper than ours, that are waiting to come in, that they have thousands of more followers than us. Then we need to do an effort to keep our sport in the right track, not only because of the ethics that we have a lot, also because of our business interest. We need to protect our sport of the public opinion against bad practice.
Yeah, we don't want pickleball taking over.
I was just going to suggest let's have pickleball. But there we go. But that's okay. We had Tom O'Mara on. He's the president of the USCF. And so we have a good point right here. Though that's an excellent point that you bring up. We need to protect that. That's for sure. But
that's why everything that we can do as riders, trainers, or professionals has to be in the direction of the welfare of the horse, and we can compete with happy horses, and that we take care, and we have to show that to the public.
If you had to start over today as a young rider, what would you do completely different than when you were?
Well, first I will learn about understand horse psychology, because this is not possible to do a partnership with someone that you don't know the language he talks. That, I think, is the first thing. And the second thing I would do is just do a program like Linda's, that you learn the groundwork. I am an amazing passionate about the groundwork. I was never doing that. And since I learned the strategies, I have been practicing the last 25 years, and I do groundwork every day.
And in the Horseman Symposium that you're part of with
I would.
Linda, me, and some others, you're going to actually start off on the ground.
Yes, I will show your horse first in the groundwork that I will write. Because this is a tool not only that makes the relation between the rider and the horse better, who is very important. It's a tool that fixes everything in mental and emotional areas. You cannot fix the mental and emotional relation with your horse when you ride in a way. You can survive it, but you don't improve it or fix it. But also it's a very good tool for riders, hobby riders, that they are alone in a center or in their properties, that they need to ride the horses on Tuesday after the day off, and it's windy or rainy or cold, and these horses are fit, and they need to do something to establish this communication instead of riding directly or launch or put particles. That means that the groundwork can help, and I can see that everywhere I go, the riders that they don't have this talent or they don't have this knowledge, they don't do it. They just ride directly or don't ride. And horses, they live in a hardest life. They have more restriction. They are in fear. The riders, the horses work hours in a circle. They get injuries. This is a very, very interesting tool, the groundwork. And also the vets are in love of it, because when you have a problem with a horse that knows how to work by the ground, you can show them and walk far from you and trot slowly and stop, and the vets can watch it. And when they need to recover after an injury, that they say, the typical easy sentence, 1 month of walk. 1 month of walk, a horse who has been stopped for months because of an injury. Luckily, if you have a horse who has knowledge about groundwork, I can work for 1 month because they know how to manage. But the small horses that have never done it, they don't recover unless they have the right tools.
That's a great point for injury, to be able to go out and actually do something that's productive instead of not productive and hurt them even worse.
This symposium, this Horseman Symposium that you guys are all doing, is when is the dates there?
28th and 29th of March.
And where's it going to be?
In Ocala at the Livestock Pavilion.
And how much does it cost?
It's $160.
And is there just a few tickets left, or how many are left?
We have some tickets left.
We do. Okay. So out of curiosity, is this being filmed or recorded that we could actually have a course of this online?
Possibly. I think they are going to have somebody film some stuff, but I don't know what they're going to do with it.
That could be fun. That could be fun. I know I would like to go, but I have to work, unfortunately. So, that's what it is there. Now, Luis, comes the fun part. I'm going to let Dancin Pete explain what's up next.
The lightning round is next. Okay, so this is, don't think about it, just the first thing that comes to your mind.
Please don't do the question too quick.
Yes, I was just going to say.
This is going to be the slow
lightning.
Like that, I have more time to think.
Well, and the other thing is, it's just like the horse, guys.
Yeah.
Lewis's main language is Spanish. So us speaking English is not fair.
Yeah.
We should be speaking Spanish, but then
Yeah,
some of our
I
listeners
will try
might
my
know.
best. Yeah.
I could get AI to have it speak in Spanish for you. if you'd
Yes.
like, and get that going on.
Okay. Classical or natural horsemanship?
Natural horsemanship is great. I like it.
Feel, Lewis, or technique?
Feel.
Olympic arena or quiet morning ride?
I enjoy a lot the morning ride, but the Olympic experience was one of the biggest moments in my life.
What was that like? I know I'm going to go off the lightning
It
round.
was-
I'm sorry, I got to go back to lightning.
No, go
We'll
ahead.
come back.
Go ahead.
Incredible.
Well, what was it like?
I was in two Olympics. In '96, I was a reserve because I was not good enough. But I traveled there and I did the right test in the stadium. But in 2000, I was good enough. When I came in, even though my horse has an accident in the stables and I wasn't competing with the best conditions, but this all my life, so many thousands of hours of training. That's fantastic. Never again.
I slowed it down for him, Pete. Okay.
Okay. One movement that reveals everything about a horse.
One movement of the horse that reveals everything that he has in.
I think when he lifts his tail.
I think the ears and the eyes, the ears. I am in love of the ears.
Shows you how much I know.
There you go. Go ahead.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay. Most misunderstood concept in dressage.
Contact.
Oh, now I gotta ask. Okay. So what is it about contact that's misunderstood?
You know, sometimes riders, when you say pat the horse, say, "Oh, but then I will miss the contact." Can it happen? This is a terrible misunderstood. It's expected that the contact you hold it or the horse take it, and that's a big difference.
You know, this lightning round is all about Lewis's personality, wisdom, and has a little bit of a European flair.
There
That's
you
what
go.
I gotta say.
Better horse or better rider?
What means that what is more important or
Yes.
a better horse?
Better
Mhm.
horse.
Okay, Liz. Train less or train smarter?
Of course.
Pressure necessary or overrated?
Overrated is too much.
Too much. Overrated.
Necessary.
Overrated.
And sometimes necessary is not even necessary.
Train smarter and overrated. Okay, one word to describe great horsemanship. One word.
Reading
Reading.
Reading.
horses.
What does a horse need more of? Clarity or kindness?
Clarity.
Biggest ego trap in dressage.
Biggest ego trap means the biggest enemy that a rider has in his ego.
Mm-hmm.
Just the results.
The results. Gotcha.
Results.
One habit every rider should stop immediately.
One habit every rider should stop immediately. Don't do breaks.
Don't do breaks.
Yeah, they don't do breaks, right?
Oh, they don't. They don't do a break.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I thought the cell phone, but that's okay.
One thing every horse deserves.
Empathy.
Empathy, yes.
Love it.
If not dressage, what discipline would you choose to do?
Cutting cows.
Cutting cows.
Yes.
Woo.
I have the best trainer in the world. Doug Jordan tell me how to do it, and I was doing it in a horse, and it was the biggest experience I have ever had. Cutting cows. I have
You know, this symposium, I think you need to get a few cows out there and show them how it's
you
done.
were expecting no cutting cows.
Wow, I was not expecting that one. Legacy or results?
If legacy is understood as keep doing what the others did, I don't like legacy. If result means make it happen, I don't like it. Then I wouldn't take any one of those.
You know, what a great conversation we had today, Pete.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I really enjoyed it. I mean, to get someone of his caliber to come join us in this podcast is something else, that's for sure. So
We're in the zone.
we're in the zone. And it is that great writing isn't about control, it's about connection. It's about listening and being about awareness and how about creating the horses that want to be with you. Luis, thanks so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. And
And how would you let people know how they can get to know you better? Is there a Facebook page?
Yes, you can come into luislucio.com. Yeah, my name, I am in Instagram and in Facebook, Luis Lucio.
And
Of course, in the Horseman Symposium.
in the essence of the horse being able to talk, please say a message in Spanish to all your listeners that may listen to it.
In Spanish, you mean?
Yes, please.
Para los que sepan español, nos podéis venir a ver en el Horse Symposium la semana próxima.
And I wish I knew what he said. But we appreciate you coming out here, and I wanted to give you that opportunity to speak Spanish, because if I could speak Spanish, I'd be asking you in Spanish.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Well, this was fantastic.
Thank
For
you.
those listeners that have been listening to this and got something worthy from this, please follow him on his website. Please reach out to him. Please let him know how much you enjoyed this podcast with him.
And if you know someone that would like to listen to this, please give them our In the Zone with Ian, Robb, and Dancin Pete.
All right. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you.
That's a wrap on another powerful episode of In the Zone with Ian Robb and Dancin Pete Rodda. Whether you ride, compete, or simply love your animals like family, today's episode was a reminder that true teamwork starts with connection and that health is the ultimate performance edge. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. And catch us next time as we dive deeper into the mind, body, and bold journeys of top performers. Until then, stay focused, stay inspired, and keep riding in the zone.